Hello friends, today we're going to dive into the very important topic of how do you improve sales performance. How do you improve sales performance? Are there certain things that are crucial to know when it comes to improving sales performance? There absolutely is, and by the end of this video, I will break down all the things that I've learned over the last 2.5 decades when it comes to improving sales performance. Nothing can be more challenging than not having your sales team perform. It can create stress both mentally and financially. However, today I want to make sure that we dive into the details of how we do improve sales performance. First, I want to help you understand a sales mindset. Second, I want to talk about what you should never do. And finally, talk about what metrics we hold them to keep performance high, and how helping them create a vision for themselves and building confidence in them will really get them to perform at high levels. If you're ready, let's go. So let's first talk about sales mindset. As far as a salesperson is concerned, what is their mindset? Why have they even gotten into sales in the first place? Well, number one, as a sales representative, the reason they decide sales is a career for them is they truly believe this is an opportunity for them to make the most amount of money possible. They feel like their skill sets, their ability to persuade, to lead others, to make good decisions are going to be beneficial for them when it comes to their financial future. They also feel like the type of schedule that they can have with sales might give them a little bit more freedom than maybe other jobs out there. So getting into sales is one of those things where individuals feel like, okay, number one, I can make a good amount of money for the effort and time that I put in, and two, and have the freedom to do the things that I want to do while at the same time doing a job that I actually love. So knowing that comes down to what motivates these individuals. I've been around lots of different sales individuals, and I've seen it both ways. Some are motivated by the carrot, some are motivated by the stick. Those that are motivated by the carrot are the ones that are kind of chasing that great thing, that next thing, that incentive, the amount of money. Some are motivated by the stick, meaning that there might be a negative consequence that might drive them to perform at a high level so they don't receive that negative consequence. Over my career, I've dealt with and managed numerous different sales representatives. In my career, I've actually ran 3 distinct different sales floors that were quite large. And I remember that first sales floor, they were so excited about that next carrot, right? What was the incentive? What could they do? What spiff was out there? What incentive could they actually go towards to try and earn to compete against their fellow competition? Now, they were a lot of fun. The second one, a little bit older demographic, they were more concerned about the stick. They were worried about the consequences if they didn't perform. If they didn't perform, would we still have the same amount of leads, the same type of leads? Would they be able to hit some of the metrics they'd always hit before? Or would that be diminished because lead quality down or lead quantity was down? And finally, I remember the last floor that I managed where they actually were more concerned about consistency rather than anything else. They wanted to make sure that they had the same opportunities as the other sales floors and that they could be consistent in what they were doing. So sales reps, understanding what motivates them from an individual level as well as a macro level can be really important to taking them to that next level. So now that we've talked a little bit about what motivates them, let's talk about what not to do. And this can be so important because sometimes doing the wrong thing can have irreversible effects and damage relationships between sales reps and sales management. And that is something you never want to have happen within a sales organization. You know, I think many years ago when I first got started, there was a theory of you could really beat a sales group up, right? There was kind of hellfire and damnation. If they didn't do what they were supposed to do, you could really light into them. But nowadays, I don't think that's the case. With the current work demographic that we have now, I don't think that's the best approach for these individuals. I've seen people try to perform that way and just have the complete opposite effect. There might have been a time and place in the past where sometimes this worked, but today I've definitely seen it as a deterrent and a reason why people might leave or never participate in sales again. I remember early on in my career, we were starting to work with an organization and we went to visit them to get some training on some of the leads that they had. And I remember the sales manager boasting, saying that what he liked to do to motivate his salespeople was find somebody that wasn't performing and fire them on the spot as a way to set the tone. And I remember thinking in my mind, what in the world is going on here? Why would you do something like that? How could that even be motivating for those sales reps that were watching that? Come to find out, they didn't last very long. And eventually that sales manager was out of business. I don't think he ever participated in a sales organization ever again. So how do metrics actually play a role in sales performance. I think one of the crucial elements to doing this is incentivizing sales reps on activity that actually leads to performance. That is something that they can control, rewarding them on positive behavior, on things that are within their control. Because a lot of times with sales reps, they might feel that things are out of their control. These people they're talking to maybe aren't answering the phone, they don't have money to move forward, even though there's ways around that, and I think that's more of a mindset thing. But if they feel they can control the activity or what's in front of them, and rewarding them on that is gonna eventually lead to more sales. And there's a reason why you don't incentivize them on sales when sales are down. It's almost like a downward spiral, because if they're trying to get sales and they're not getting sales, and the only way they can be incentivized or receive a bonus or something special is on sales, when sales are down, that might be even more fuel to the fire that they might be thinking in their mind, well, gall, I'm not even getting any sales anyway. This is just another thing to remind me of that. I'm struggling. I'm not gonna get that bonus, that extra money, because they're already not making what they're hoping to anyway by not getting sales. So I like to take it down another level and reward them on things within their control based upon the activity that they can actually control. And by doing that and tying that activity to things that we know will eventually lead to sales, we'll actually give them some little wins along the way that boost confidence and get them started back on the right foot. And even seeing some of those rewards come through can actually be a reminder of why they got involved in sales in the first place. One thing we used to incentivize on quite often was based on the activity of phone time and dials. We knew that if they hit certain metrics in those areas, that those would lead eventually towards sales. Then we'd incentivize on appointments set and appointments passed over to the director. And in doing so, you started to build little things that they actually controlled, which helped them see future success. So when sales performance is struggling, another thing that I really like to do is help them create a vision. And I do that both at an individual level as well as a collective group. So how do you do that? How do you help them create a vision? Well, number one, I think it starts with their why, right? Everybody has a why. Why do you get up in the morning and do what you do and show up and do that, right? For sales, every single one of them should have a why. They got involved into sales for a reason, and whatever that reason is ultimately ties back to something that's more important. Number one, it might be for the money, but there's something behind the money. Why do they want the money? What's it gonna do for them? What's it gonna do for their family? How's it gonna benefit them from a foundational level? And if you can get that specific and that deep with these individuals, that is something powerful that they can always lean towards, and it helps them create that vision of why they got involved in the first place, as well as a group helping them have a collective why. They want to be the best team, they want to perform at the highest level, they want to be the best versions of themselves. All those things lead toward them having something greater than just showing up and being there that day because you asked them to. And one other thing that could be really important from a why perspective on helping them dig down to their why could be to help them associate at a macro level with the entire company. If the company has a cause that they're performing, a lot of times that's greater than the individual or the team, that is sometimes really easy to show up for, even if you're not feeling your best. In my company that I own currently, our mantra is helping people be the best versions of themselves. So when you show up every day and your goal is to help people be the best version of themselves, it's hard to be upset, angry, tired. It gives a purpose that's maybe greater than the whole. Finally, I think one of the most important things to do to help a sales organization rebound or help improve sales performance is believing in them and building confidence in them. Sometimes when their performance isn't where they want it to be, a lot of times confidence is low. And if you come in and you add fuel to that fire saying that your confidence in them is also low, it really puts a damper on what they can do. But if you come in and say, listen, I believe in you, I've seen you guys perform at a high level before, I know you can do it, that might be all they need to maybe pull out of a little bit of a slump or a little bit of a challenge to get to that next level that'll then help them build some confidence in themselves, all because somebody else believed in them that was maybe in a higher status or position than they're currently at. And these are some things that I've seen work really well to help sales teams perform at a high level. I'd be interested in your feedback, so please comment below, let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, I've got a free gift for you. It's a 10-module sales training system called Sales and Persuasion. Just click on the link below, aaronssalestraining.com, and it's a free gift for you. Thanks for stopping by. Have an awesome day.